Located with Zuna, NYC tick in TradeStation cash sign TICK. It's an indicator that I use quite often when I'm trading index futures or trading stocks. I find it very useful, and the way I use it, I use it with two indicators: the tick levels, which are these horizontal lines, and down here, and the tick trend. Okay, these are the two indicators I like to use on it, and there's reason why I use these two, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. First, the tick levels, very simple horizontal lines, which I have set to 1,800, 500, 500, minus 500, minus 500, minus 800, minus 1,000. These can be changed. You can change it to whatever you like. And I only use 3 lines above 0, 3 lines below 0. That's why I have 2 of them set to 500. Color, styles, user friendly. You can choose whichever you like. With the tick trend, you can change the style and the color. I recommend leaving the inputs as is on this until you have, let's say, 6 months to a year of experience with it. You've seen enough market action with it, and if you find something, you find another input that another setting that you prefer more, then feel free to change it. But I recommend to leave it as is for a while till you get used to it. So the tick trend simply does what the name of it is. It gives me the trend of the ticks, and if it's a downtrend, it turns red. If it's an uptrend, it turns green. It turned green for a couple of minutes here. The rest of the day it was red. And I also like to see what the tick trend is doing. Is it making higher highs, higher lows, etc., or is it just going sideways, consolidating as it was here? Is it moving strongly up from, let's say, 800 all the way up to 1,000? So that's what I like to look for in the tick trend. And the tick levels are merely reference points. Reference points so I can have context. I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. So today the tick trend red all day long. It moved up to the 0 line and then pushed back down. Then it consolidated. Then it moved up and then it pushed back down. Okay. So I can print this out and I can study it and have a mental picture of what the ticks did, and I can write a small description beneath it of what I just explained in this video about the tick trend. And then I will also take notation that both times we hit 500 level, above 0, the 500 level, that the market sold off. The second time the market sold off quite quite a bit. The first time we went from 1072 to around 1067, about 5 points, which is not a small move in the S, but it's not a giant move. The second time we moved double that, double to about two to 2.5 times that. I make notations of that, and over time, I have a good catalog of patterns that I start seeing with the tick. And in reference to the levels, now this gives me a building block for developing strategies that are high probability. So I think you guys pretty much via that explanation get an idea of what I do with the ticks. And so that is why I use these two. Now, in contrast, a lot of traders get fixated on fading moves at the minus 1,000 or plus 1,000. I don't generally do that, and in trend days, that's a great way to get killed pretty much just by doing that. So I don't do that. I like to see more of a I like to work more in more of a context. So I look at what the tick trend is doing. I have enough experience with it that I know that what based on what the tick trend is doing, based on what price action is doing, at what levels I should be looking for trades. So on a day like this, be looking for trades around the 500, around the 0 line, when the ticks are doing this. As you can see, around the zero line, when we hit the zero line, okay, I'm just going through it real fast, and the 500 line, okay, we had a lot of trade opportunities. So that's the value of the tick trend and the tick levels. Now every day is not going to be, excuse me, every day is not going to be as it was this day, with the tick trends being pegged below zero and staying red all day long. That's not what I was implying. So okay, so here's the next day, and as you can see, tick trend red till the afternoon. Then we get this strong volatile move, and tick trend moves above zero and turns green, and the ticks consolidate in this area, and we create a couple of small pullbacks that would have been profitable trades. They So as you can see, they happened around the 500 and the 800 area, and in the morning most of the trades were around the 500 and the 800 area. So but the difference today was that although the tick trends were majority of the time they were red, we did it did turn green for quite a bit of time in this area. Okay, so when you take your screenshots or print these out and you make your notations, you make notations of these, and you also make notations of how they acted around these levels and what levels would have been optimum areas to look for trades under these conditions and what price action was doing. So that's the goal of the tick trend and tick levels, and I know several traders that pretty much just work with the ticks and tick trend to do all their trading. They don't use anything else, just bare price, tick and tick levels, and etc. So that's how uh, I would suggest using the ticks. If you're using ticks already, then see if this is something that resonates with you. If you haven't used ticks at all, I would recommend using them in the fashion as I mentioned. There are a couple of ways you could use the ticks with the tick trend and tick levels. I like to use it with the volume breadth in conjunction with the volume breadth, as it really gives me a solid when I combine what the ticks are telling me, what the tick trend is telling me, in combination with what the volume breadth is telling me, get a very solid reading on the market internals, whether if I'm trading ES or if I'm trading YM or if I'm trading NQ. I don't generally trade TF or Russell 2000 that often, but these three I do trade. I trade pretty much almost every day. So that is my recommendation, and that's the way I use the ticks. And I hope you found this, what I explained in this video, somewhat useful, at least a little bit useful. And there is also a free strategy that I've included with the ticks and tick levels, just to give those of you who are interested a little bit an idea of how to use the ticks to construct a strategy. So that's included, and it can serve especially for new beginning traders that haven't put together their own strategies yet. It can serve as a template because it covers entries, specific quantifiable entries, stops, protective stops, covers profit targets, pretty much everything you need in a strategy in detail. So it can be used as a, if you don't have a strategy yet built, you can use that as a template for building all of your strategies. Very good. Thanks for watching.